Hi everyone, today we will learn inverse proportion together. Let's start with a warm-up question. I will read it for you. I went to a restaurant with my friends and we ordered some pizza. After eating, the waiter said that the payment is 60 Turkish liras. I said I will pay all of it, but my friends didn't allow me. So we decided to pay together. We shared the payment equally. Let's consider the situations. If I will pay all, I will pay 60 Turkish liras. If me and a friend will pay, what is the amount paid by each of us? Yes, we should divide 60 by 2, so each of us will pay 30 liras. If me and two friends will share the payment, what is the amount paid by each of us? Now we should divide 60 by 3, so each of us will pay 20 liras. Look at the other situations and find the amount paid by each person and continue with me. If me and three friends will pay, each of us will pay 15 liras. If me and four friends will pay, each of us will pay 12 liras. If me and five friends will pay, each of us will pay 10 liras. Does the total payment change or not in each situation? No, the total payment is always 60 Turkish liras, since we share it equally. Total payment is equal to number of people times the amount paid per person. Please stop the video and examine the table on your own. What do you notice about the numbers? How can you create a relationship between the money that each person pays and the number of people? If the number of people increases, the amount paid per person decreases. But the total amount of money is never changed. It is always 60 Turkish liras. Can we say that these two factors inversely proportional? Think about it. Yes, we can say, since while one of them increases, the other one decreases. Come and learn more about inverse proportion. In inverse proportion, the product of the quantities are constant like in the previous example. The product of A and B and C and D is equal to any number n. This n is our constant in inverse proportion. What was the constant here? Yes, it was 60. Again, as one quantity increases, the other one decreases in inverse proportion to keep the constant same. Decide which of the situations are inversely proportional. Please stop the video and try to find inversely proportional statements. Then come and check with me. Let's start with the first one. The relationship between the speed to travel Ankara and the arrival time. Imagine, in which case the arrival time is longer, when our speed is 50 or 100. Of course, if we go faster, we arrive earlier, and if we go slower, we arrive later. So, if our speed increases, the arrival time decreases and vice versa. Look at the second one. If Ali reads 20 pages in each day, the number of pages Ali reads at the end of the 10 days. In one day, Ali reads 20 pages. In 2 days, he reads 40 pages. In 3 days, he reads 60 pages. The number of pages that Ali reads is equal to number of days times 20. So, in 10 days, Ali will read 200 pages. But when the number of days increases, the number of the pages also increases. Since these two quantities increase at the same time, this statement is not inversely proportional. Let's read the third one. The relationship between the necessary time to clean the house and the number of people for this job. Think about that. In which situation we finish the cleaning earlier? When I clean the house on my own or when I clean with my sisters? Yes, if the number of people for cleaning the house increases, the necessary time for this job decreases. This statement is also inversely proportional as the first one. This is last one. If one worker earns 300 Turkish liras for one day, the money earned by 3 workers for one day. Each of the worker earns 300 liras, so the total money earned by them should be 3 times 300, which is 900. If we have 5 workers, the total money will be 1,500 liras. So, if the number of the workers increases, the total money also increases. This situation is not inversely proportional. Let's read the problem carefully to understand what it asks clearly. Esra lives in Istanbul. She wants to go Izmir with her car to visit her grandmother. She starts to drive at 10 and arrive at 3. Her speed is 90 km per hour while she is driving. If her speed is more than 90, does Esra arrive at Izmir earlier or later? Why? How can you describe the relationship between the speed and time? Please think for a while. If her speed is more than 90 km per hour, she will arrive earlier as the previous example we did. This is because if the speed increases, the arrival time decreases. There is another question. How long the distance between Istanbul and Izmir? Firstly, we need to find how many hours that Esra spends for her travel. From 10 to 3, there are 5 hours. If we want to find the distance between two cities, we should multiply the speed of the car and the time passed. So, if we multiply 5 and 90, we get 450 kilometers. We continue with the same problem. Please complete the table properly. Please be careful. Now, the starting and arrival time are different for each situation. For the first line, we found the time spent, and by this way we also found the distance between Istanbul and Izmir. Do you think that can this distance change for other situations? Of course no. The distance between two cities always remains same, which is 450. We mentioned the term constant before. So, the 450 kilometers is our constant for this problem. Now, we can look at the other parts. For the second line, the speed and the spending hours are not given us. What should we do firstly? Yes, we should find the hours Esra spent. From 12 to 9, 9 hours should be passed. We found the distance by multiplying the time and speed. So, we should multiply 9 hours with unknown speed and we should get 450 kilometers. In order to find the unknown speed, we should divide 450 by 9 and we will get 50 km per hour as a speed. Please try to find the other unknown values in the table and then come and check with me. For the third line, we know the time spent, which is 10 hours, and the arrival time of Esra. If we go back 10 hours from midnight, we will find the starting time, which is 2 p.m. Also, we don't know the speed again. Like in the previous line, we should divide 450 by 10 to find the speed. By this way, we will get 45, which is the speed for this situation. Let's look at last one. In this case, we know the speed and starting time, but we don't know the time spent for this travel. When we multiply the time and speed, we get the distance. So, if we multiply the unknown time and 150, we will get 450 again, since the distance is same for each situation. If we divide the distance by speed, we will get 3 hours. If Esra arrived 3 hours later than 3 p.m., she will arrive at 6 p.m. We have completed the table correctly. Congratulations! Come and look at the completed table again. Let's try to write the values of speed with an increasing order. Also, match them with spending hours for each speed. Can you recognize that while the values of speed increases, the necessary time for this travel decreases? The speed and time are inversely proportional in this problem. After visiting her grandmother in Izmir, if Esra wants to visit her friend who lives in Bursa, she drives with a speed of 90 km per hour and starts at 10 o'clock. The distance between Izmir and Bursa is 360 kilometers. Please complete the table at the above on your own by finding proper speed values and hours. Now, Please stop the video and try to find your own answers. You are free to choose the starting and arrival times. After complete your own table, come and examine the table that I will complete. Firstly, I think you already found the constant here. The constant is 360 kilometers, which is the distance between Bursa and Izmir. For the first line, we know the speed, so if we divide 360 by 90, we will get 4 hours. For this case, Esra should arrive 4 hours later than 10, which is 2 p.m. I think that if Esra spends 3 hours for her travel, her speed should be 120, since the multiplication of speed and time is equal to distance. Besides, I choose 2 p.m. as a starting time for this situation, so the arrival time becomes 5 p.m. For the third line, if we know the starting and arrival time of Esra, which are 12 p.m. and 6 p.m., the spending hours for her travel will be 6 hours. We can find her speed by dividing 360 by 6. Finally, we find her speed, which is 60 km per hour. For the last one, if we know the arrival time and spending hours, which are midnight and 8 hours, we can easily find the other unknown values as we did in before. If we go 8 hours back from the midnight, the starting time will be 4 p.m. And if we divide the 360 by 8, we will get 4500, which is the speed of Esra. This was an extra work for you. You may have also found different options for speed or spending hours. If you found, please don't forget to write them in the comments part. I have a question for you. How can you distinguish between diverse proportion and inverse proportion? Think for a while. I wonder your ideas. Please share your thoughts with me. For now, I will explain for you. In direct proportion, as one quantity increases, the other one also increases. Or, as one quantity decreases, the other one also decreases. But, in inverse proportion, as one quantity increases, the other one decreases. Please be careful while solving problems about these two types of proportions. I want to solve two problems with you. Let's read the first one. A canteen has enough food for 25 students for 16 days. How long will the food last if 15 more students join them? Try to do on your own and check with me. If the food enough for 25 students for 16 days, we can find the number of days that food lasts for one student by multiplying 25 and 16. The food lasts 400 days for one student. We should add 15 to 25 to find the new number of students, which is 40. Since we have food which lasts 400 days, and also which is our constant for this problem, if we want to find the number of days that food lasts for 40 students, we should divide 400 by 40. Finally, we find that the food will last for 10 days for 40 students. This is the last question. A school has 6 periods a day, each of 40 minutes duration. How long would each period be if the school has 8 periods a day, assuming the number of school hours to be the same? What should we do firstly? What is our constant in this problem? Do we know? Since we have 6 periods, which all of them consist of 40 minutes duration, we should find the total duration of a school period. In order to find it, we should multiply 6 and 40, which is 240 minutes. The question says that the total school hours doesn't change. So, 240 is our constant for this problem. If we have 8 periods a day, each period should be 30 hours. We found 30 by dividing 240 by 8. Do you realize that our number of periods increased and became 8, but the duration of the periods decreased and became 30? Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions about the inverse proportion, please ask me. I will check the comments. See you later.